Hello and welcome to this music technology session, where today we'll be using a new piece of free web-based software called Sampulator to trigger live sounds and create beats and rhythms. We'll also be using a piece of software that we've used previously called Incredibox to help us do this. So let's get started. So let's start with today's new piece of software called Sampulator. Type Sampulator into a Google browser, ideally on Google Chrome, and click the first result. Here you'll see Sampulator has loaded, and you'll notice the layout is identical to that of your keyboard. So the top purpley blue line is all your numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. And when I press any of those keys, it triggers the sample. So 1 triggers the clap sound, 2 the snap sound, and so on. The light green samples are triggered by the row beginning Q, W, E, R, T on your keyboard. Same for the next row and the one beneath it. Take some time now to explore Sampulator, putting together different combinations of samples from the top row, the second row, the third row, which has a mixture of keys and guitar sounds, and finally the bottom row, which are all vocal samples.
Dear. Hold up. Dear. Hold up.
Pause the video now, have a play around with Sampulator, then pop back for some more activities. Now that you've explored Sampulator, let's use some free web-based software from a previous session to create a backing beat for us to trigger these samples on top of. We're going to use Incredibox. Now to load Incredibox to work at the same time as Sampulator, we need to create a new tab on our internet browser. I'm going to click this plus symbol here to add a new tab, and then search for Incredibox in the search engine. It's this first result here that we want, and you want to scroll down and click Try Web Version. Now you may remember previously using the alpha samples in our first session on music technology, so let's use Little Miss instead. Click play once it's loaded. And now we're going to create a backing track for us to use Sampulator at the same time as. So just use 3 or 4 samples from the first 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't go any further than this one here, but any of these first 7 you can use. And remember, just drag them on to a beatboxer and now start beatboxing a rhythm. So I'll use that one, another one, and let's go for the third final one here. It can take a short while to load. And here's my backing track. I can now click between Sampulator and Incredibox by clicking the tabs at the top of the page. Whilst this is playing, I'm going to click Sampulator and try playing different rhythms over the top. Let's just use the keys E, R and T for now, which trigger the claves, the triangle and the shaker sound. Let's have a listen. Pause this video now, load up Incredibox in a new tab and practice using Sampulator to trigger sounds over a backing track using the keys E, R and T. Good luck! Now that you've tried using E, R and T, or the samples claves, triangle and shaker, over a backing beat made in Incredibox, let's try and focus those sounds and make our own riff or repeated pattern. So using E, R, T, I can make my own rhythm. And I can try it with my backing beat. Let's try and make a different backing beat. Again, using just 2 or 3 sounds from here. I'll use the first 3. And I'll click back onto Sampulator. And I'll try and play my rhythm over the top of this. Once you've generated or composed a rhythm that you like, you could then try and trigger other samples in addition to this rhythm for some extra variety and interest. I'll keep my same rhythm, but I might try and trigger some of the vocal samples every now and again. Let's have a listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try incorporating this into your composition too. Generate a rhythm first, and then try and add 1 or 2 extra sounds from the keyboard or samples that you like the sound of. Let's hear mine just one more time with the backing beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's your turn. Remember, using just E, R and T, create your own repeated rhythm, sometimes called a riff. And then once you're comfortable with that, using a different hand or finger or thumb, try and trigger 1 or 2 other samples to provide more musical interest. Pause this video, give that a go, and then pop back afterwards. Now let's try and fine-tune some extra technical skills using a different set of samples. We're going to focus on the green row, where it says keys 1, keys 2, and so on. But we're going to use the guitar samples, which start with the key J, K, L, and so on. Now we're going to use our 4 fingers like this, and just like you play a piano scale using every single finger, we're going to put our first finger on J, middle finger on K, wedding ring finger on L, and your pinky or little finger on that colon or semicolon button. Once your fingers are resting on those keys, try playing each one individually. And back down. Try to get this faster, but still clear and coherent. Once you've practiced those scales using those fingers, start your Incredibox backing beat and try and play different melodies and patterns using your 4 fingers to trigger those guitar samples. Let's hear an example. Pause this video and give those guitar scales a go now. So in today's session, you've learned how to use many different samples in Sampulator to compose and perform live your own rhythm over a beat that you've generated in Incredibox. But it doesn't stop here. There's plenty more for you to explore. You could compose a completely different backing beat using the sunrise samples here or the love samples found by clicking here. You could also explore further by creating your own live beats using not just E, R and T, but any of the letters and numbers on the keyboard to generate your own brand new composed rhythms. As always, anything you compose we would love to hear here at the Leicestershire Music Service. So use this email address to send us your compositions and performances, bearing in mind to just read the small print in the description below this video first. And that's it for this session. Now that you've learnt to use a variety of free web-based software over the past few weeks, you can now choose your own combinations of these to put together. Today we joined Sampulator and Incredibox and made our own live music. But you could click the extra tab section and load up any of our free resources from before to create your own exciting music tech compositions. Good luck and enjoy making music.